is Chris Carlisle, and this is my podcast, The Chris Show. On here, I talk about places I've been, things I've done, and whatever else I can think of. On this week's show, we'll take a look at when I was in the 5th grade. I was still living in Houston when school started and moved to Rosebud after the start of the second semester. The first part of the show will cover the first semester, or what happened when I still lived in Houston, while the second part will cover what happened after I moved to Rosebud. Well, I hope you're liking the buffer music I put in there. Anyway, I was in the 5th grade during the 1980-81 school year. School started on August 19th, 1980. I was still going to Spring Shadows Elementary School in the Spring Branch area of Houston. My sister was in the 4th grade. Like Edgewood Elementary, where I went to for 3rd grade, the classrooms at Spring Shadows were in separate buildings. For example, 4th grade was in one area, with some of the classes being in one building with 4 classrooms, 2 on each side with an open area in the middle. My homeroom teacher was named Mrs. Driver. The teacher in the homeroom next to mine was named Mrs. Knight. The teachers across were Mrs. Dosh and Mrs. Moody. I had Mrs. Moody for language arts. In her class, we watched The Sound of Music before we got out for the Christmas holidays. We put on a Christmas play. Some of the songs we sang were It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, Winter Wonderland, Silver Bells, and others. They took us to see a movie called Krakatoa East of Java. Before my mom decided we were going to move to Rosebud, she let me go with my classmates who were going to Northbrook Junior High School for the 1981-1982 school year when we were going to be in the 6th grade. Coming up, a look at why I've been in the news when I still lived in Houston. Okay, in the news. In the 1980 presidential election, the Republican ticket of former California Governor Ronald Reagan and former Ambassador George Bush defeated the Democratic ticket of incumbent President Jimmy Carter and Vice President Walter Mondale. Congressman John Anderson ran as an independent. I was watching the broadcast of Monday Night Football on December 8, 1980, where the Miami Dolphins were playing the New England Patriots, when Howard Cosell read a bulletin reporting that former Beatle John Lennon had been pronounced DOA at Roosevelt Hospital in New York after he was shot outside of his apartment. In Mrs. Booty's class, we watched the inauguration of President Ronald Reagan and Vice President George Bush. The hostages in Iran were let go soon after. At the request of President Reagan, former President Carter went to West Germany to greet the hostages who were flown there before returning to the U.S. In sports during that time, I went and saw the Astros beat the Cincinnati Reds in the Astrodome. During the pregame, Astros pitcher J.R. Richard brought out the lineup card. This was Richard's first appearance since he had a stroke during the summer that would end what could have been a Hall of Fame career. The Astros went on to win the National League Western Division Championship. It was the first championship in franchise history. The Philadelphia Phillies won the National League Eastern Division Championship. The Kansas City Royals won the American League Western Division Championship. The New York Yankees won the American League Eastern Division Championship. The Astros lost an exciting National League Championship Series 3-2 in 5 games. I got to go to Game 5. The Royals beat the Yankees to win the American League Championship, and the Phillies beat the Royals to win the World Series for 1980. I also got to see an Oilers preseason game. Even though the Oilers had another exciting season, they lost to the Oakland Raiders in the AFC wildcard game. Head coach Bum Phillips was fired by owner Bud Adams on New Year's Eve. The Philadelphia Eagles won the NFC Eastern Division Championship. The Buffalo Bills won the AFC Eastern Division Championship. The Cleveland Browns won the AFC Central Division Championship. The San Diego Chargers won the AFC Western Division Championship. And the Atlanta Falcons won the NFC Western Division Championship. In the rest of the NFL playoffs, the Cowboys beat the Rams in the NFC wildcard game. In the divisional round, the Raiders beat the Browns and the Chargers beat the Bills in the AFC, while the Cowboys beat the Falcons and the Eagles beat the Vikings in the NFC. The Raiders beat the Chargers to win the AFC Championship, while the Eagles beat the Cowboys to win the NFC Championship, and the Raiders beat the Eagles to win Super Bowl 15. This was their second championship in 4 years, and they became the first wildcard team to win a Super Bowl. In college football, Baylor won the Southwest Conference Championship, while Georgia went undefeated and was crowned the national champions after beating Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. George Rogers, running back from South Carolina, was the winner of the 1980 Heisman Trophy. Richard Petty won the 1981 Daytona 500. The new television shows that premiered that fall were Those Amazing Animals, which starred Burgess Meredith, Jim Stafford, and Priscilla Presley. I went and saw Jim Stafford back when he had his theater in Branson. On one of my trips up there, I got his autograph. The Original Dynasty with John Forsythe and Linda Evans, Too Close for Comfort with Ted Knight, Flamingo Road, A Nighttime Show with Mark Harmon, Morgan Fairchild, and Howard Duff. Bosom Buddies, which is where Tom Hanks got his start, where he and an actor named Peter Scolari played two guys whose apartment got the wrecking ball. So they moved into the apartment that their friend Amy lived in, but it was for women only, so they dressed in drag so they could live there. The original Magnum P.I. with Tom Selleck, Enos, which was a spin-off of The Dukes of Hazzard, Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell Sisters with country singer Barbara Mandrell, along with her sisters Louise and Arlene. Other new shows included Private Benjamin, Foul Play, It's a Living, Games People Play, I'm a Big Girl Now, Marie, Harper Valley PTA, Breaking Away based on the movie of the same name, The Brady Brides, in which Marcia and Jan Brady live in a house with their new husbands, Phoebe and the Bean, Secrets of Midland Heights, Walking Tall, and Hill Street Blues. Next, Those Who Were Born and Those Who We Lost during the first semester, when I was in 5th grade. Ben Savage, singer Nick Cannon, reality star Kim Kardashian, singer Christina Aguilera, and pro wrestler Claudio Castagnoli, formerly Cesaro in WWE, were born, and legendary actor Steve McQueen, legendary actress Mae West, also reported about for her death on the NBC Nightly News. Colonel Holland Sanders, of course, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Soviet Premier Alexei Kosygin passed away. We moved to Rosebud between the last of February and the 1st of March. My new school was Rosebud Intermediate School. Mrs. Bauer was my homeroom teacher. Other teachers I had were Mrs. Barkas and Mrs. Ornwine. The school choir put on the musical Tom Sawyer, and they showed us the Disney movie Johnny Tremaine Friday we got off for spring break. The Rosebud Lot Cougar basketball team, led by coach Jack Ornwine, finished with a record of 15-13. The Rosebud Lot Cougarettes basketball team finished with a record of 14-10. The Cougar baseball team went 0-5 in district play. The boys track team did well during the 1980-81 season. Craig White set a school record in pole vault at the district meet. The girls track team also had a good year as they earned various awards and honors. The boys tennis team won various local and district meets, while the girls tennis team had several girls win various awards in area and district meets. And there was also a golf team that was put together by Principal Vic Roper and Vice Principal Raymond Palente. In the news, President Ronald Reagan became the target of an assassination attempt on March 30th outside the Washington Hilton when John Hinckley opened fire on the presidential party after the president had addressed the AFL-CIO. Although initial reports said that the president had not been hit, it turned out that he had been wounded in the shooting. 3 others were wounded, including Press Secretary James Brady, who was shot in the head and left crippled for the rest of his life. A Secret Service agent and a Washington, D.C. police officer. A few months later, there was an attempt on the life of Pope John Paul II. Prince Charles of the United Kingdom announced his engagement to Lady Diana Spencer, and it was also the maiden voyage of the Space Shuttle Columbia. In sports, the Houston Rockets lost to the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. For the other Texas NBA teams, the new expansion Dallas Mavericks finished their inaugural season with a 15-67 record, while the San Antonio Spurs won the NBA Midwest Division Championship. The other NBA divisions were the Boston Celtics, who won the NBA Atlantic Division Championship as well as the NBA Championship. The Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Central, while the Phoenix Suns won the NBA Pacific. In the National Hockey League, the New York Islanders won their second straight Stanley Cup when they beat the Minnesota North Stars. Of course, the Minnesota North Stars are now the Dallas Stars, and I'm going to see them play the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday in Dallas. The Indiana Hoosiers, coached by Bob Knight, won the NCAA basketball championship. I think Isaiah Thomas was on that team. Back then, if you didn't have cable, the only channels you watched were Channel 6, which was the NBC affiliate, and Channel 10, which had a dual affiliation with ABC and CBS. And it was primarily an ABC affiliate. The only CBS programs that they showed were Dallas, The Dukes of Hazzard, the CBS TV News, and I think 60 Minutes. The new television shows were The Greatest American Hero, Aloha Paradise, and American Dream. People born during the second semester were former Super Bowl champion Eli Manning, Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of President Donald Trump, singer Alicia Keys, singer and actor Justin Timberlake, actor Elijah Wood from the Lord of the Rings movies, model Paris Hilton, actress Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard's daughter, and I think he had just left Happy Days around that time. Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, actor Hayden Christensen from Star Wars, he was Anakin Skywalker, NFL player Troy Polamalu, actress Jessica Alba, NFL player Wes Walker, former Texas Rangers player Josh Hamilton, and pro wrestler Bryan Danielson. Also, actor Richard Boone, who starred in the Western television series Have Gun Will Travel, died on January 10th. Actress Beulah Bondi died on January 11th. Rock singer Haley, who recorded the song Rock Around the Clock, died in February. General Omar Bradley, who was America's last five-star general, died on April 18th. Former boxing champion Joe Louis died on April 13th. And finally, actor Jim Davis, who played Jockey Wingle on the television series Dallas, died on April 26th. Spotify and Spreaker. If you liked what you heard, be sure to hit the download button, the like button, and follow. Until then, have a good time.